My name is Marc Claxton. I am an all-styles hip-hop dancer. I'm also a Generational 6 super soldier, and I'm also a space shifter artist. So an all-styles dancer essentially is somebody who has studied all sorts of dance styles, from breakdancing to hip-hop choreography to popping to locking to tutting. I've dabbled into all those different types of dance styles and created my own style, which is almost in a sense like a weird footwork style, dance style. I'm also an artist, and the style of art that I do is multi-dimensional shifting art. My art is very, I see certain things in my head that I try to ground, which in a sense is getting you in touch with the greater portion of yourself. I've had a UFO experience when I was about maybe 18, 19 years old. I remember me having this experience of just having the orange spaceship on my lawn. Actually, it was about maybe 20 feet above my lawn, and I remember me looking up at it and just saying, wow, like that's incredible. And what stuck out from that experience was the quality of the experience. It looked even realer than me and you talking or having a normal conversation. It looked so real that it was shocking. Just the quality of that experience was just so shocking to me. So I regained consciousness and picked back up on my life. And then as I went about my daily life, I started to realize that that memory or dream was not a dream. That actually really happened. Because I remember me actually remembering that how real that experience was in that moment of time. So when that happened, I kept thinking about it obsessively. And then the minute I kept thinking about it, the experience started to become more real. That memory, that dream or whatever started to become more real. And I eventually realized that actually happened. Long story short, like that actually was not a memory. Why am I still thinking about that? I would go to school obsessing over that memory. I would be at my friend's house, be at my girlfriend's house, obsessing over that memory. And it came to the point over a sufficient amount of time where I now realized how real that was. That was not a memory. That was not a dream. That actually happened. And it came off as if, like, it didn't even come off as if it was like I woke up and then it was a dream. It literally put me back into my normal waking state, as if I was doing something else. As if I was just like talking to somebody. And then I didn't wake up from that experience. After the UFO experience, it wasn't as if like I woke up out of a dream or woke up out of my bed and then it happened. It happened as if I was going about my day and I was just having that memory of the UFO experience. It wasn't as if like I would just go about my day and I would just constantly think about the UFO experience, like over and over and over again. Like I would just obsessively think about it because I remember in that memory how real it was. And I remember in that memory that I really thought that was actually happening. And I could not stop thinking about it over and over and over and over and over again. And it was a big orange UFO hovering above my head. And I was just looking up at it at my old house in North Carolina. And that was such a real moment. And then after that was over with, it felt like as if my life just continued like normal. I didn't wake up out of bed. It wasn't like a dream. I wasn't daydreaming. It was almost as if like I was missing time. And I remember that very vividly. I remember that. So shortly after that experience, I started drawing a lot of different lines connecting the circles and stuff like that, and it started to become pictures. And I never had any expectation I'd be doodling, and then the doodles would actually come out real cool to me, So then I started drawing like that ever since that experience. I started drawing just like that. And I started drawing lines connecting the circles and circles connecting to the edge of like certain points in the pictures, and I would just keep on doing that until it turned out to be like a real dope piece of art, and then I'd start getting compliments on that, and then I'd see that people actually liked the style of art that I was drawing, and then I eventually called it space shifting, shifting realities, and I started to become obsessively drawing pictures like this ever since that UFO incident. Not saying that I had I never saw any beings on the ship. I never communicated with anybody, at least to my knowledge. I don't feel like I remembered, but the only thing that I remembered was seeing that orange ship. That ship was big. It was there. I saw it. I saw the ship, and it was just hovering over my head. And now when I have the memory of that, it feels like a dream. But I remember me in that experience, remembering how real it felt. I remember that so pristinely that I know that wasn't a memory. That wasn't a dream. That was something that my consciousness did outside of time. Like, I know that was something. So ever since that moment, I just started drawing pictures, and I just started, that's just pretty much, I feel like, where my pictures stem from. Because ever since that moment, I was drawing cartoon characters. But before then, I was drawing cartoon characters, and I was drawing just stuff that I would see on TV. But ever since that UFO experience, I've been intuitively drawing stuff like this. I have a unique ability to get into an altered state. I've always been able to do that. I've always just been able to just literally just shut off all my thoughts and just get into and just become empty and just not think of anything. I've always been able to do that. I've always been in complete control of my emotions. I've never really I've always took life very lighthearted, and growing up, I started to see that was like a very that was like a really respected thing to do. Most people can't shut off the thoughts in their mind, and I can do that very easily, like it's cake, like it's nothing. So with that said, I can almost go into an altered state, and I get into that altered state when I'm drawing. And now I'm seeing that this is like also a thing to channel. Like, I can, like, in order for me to channel a higher dimension, you have to, in a sense, like what I've been doing all my life, shut off all noise in your head and shut off all mental activity. You have to literally become in a state of repose, to the point where you're just not thinking at all and just letting whatever come through you. And I feel like the hang up most people have on channeling is the idea of the information having to be some type of way. And if you can relax your expectation on the information being some type of way, you will have whatever flow through you in the way it needs to be. And so I've come to grips with that part of myself, and through my art and through these channelings that I've been doing. I've channeled a few times in my life. Back when I had a girlfriend, a few girlfriends ago, I channeled with her, and she would bring her friends over, and I would channel for them, and I didn't really think it was that much of a big deal. And then I never channeled since, until I met James, and he got me into a regression, and I channeled again. This is years later, and now I said a lot of profound things through these channelings, and regarding my super soldier activities. Apparently, me and James and my other friend, we share the same oversoul. We in the first regression, we had this the person that was channeling through me created a link between me, James, and my other friend, this trinary link. Everybody has a signature frequency. And so from what I can understand is that some people, dominant frequency can be positive or negative. And depending on what your dominant frequency is going to be the beings that you channel. So the frequency that I'm trying to emit myself all the time is the positive polarity. I'm a very lighthearted, positive, happy-go-lucky type of person, and I try to always bring that home in all my interactions. So I feel like the beings that I channel are somewhat of that type of nature. So I feel like the dark strata is going to be, in a sense, the frequency that my higher self does not want me to focus on. Based on anybody's dominant frequency, they will channel and bring home the beings that they need to bring through that is germane to their vibration. So therefore, like, if you are positively polarized, then you're gonna only bring home and channel positive polarity entities. You know what I mean? And this is just from what I feel like is happening. If you are with the dark, then you're gonna bring in dark energy. You know what I mean? Through your conduit, through your vessel. So the beings that I'm channeling, they're trying to make me not focus on the dark strata, because I feel like that's going to shift me into another timeline where there is dark strata. You know, so not saying to be in denial of it, just acknowledge that it is there, but know that it has nothing to do with you. And the beings that I channel, like Caius and the beings that I channeled with James, I feel like are trying to drive that point home, to know that the darkness is there, and to acknowledge it, but know that it has nothing to do with you and what you're trying to do in life. So therefore, as far as dark strata is concerned, it doesn't really have to have any relevance. It's a very exciting concept, but it doesn't really have to have anything to do with the individual. So I feel like the beings that I'm channeling are really trying to drive that point home, and to not be in denial of the darkness, but to just know it's there and just be with it, coexist with it, and still do your thing within the darkness and embrace the light while you're in the dark. When I was in Orlando, Florida, I was at the Radisson Hotel. I was with one of my friends, and I told my friend that I have this top secret military guy that I can contact to pull up my dark web file. And I was at the pool at the Radisson Hotel, and I was with my friend right next to me, and I put him on speakerphone. And long story short, I called Peter the Insider, and he told me some of the most wildest things that I probably would have never fathomed that was even possible in human life. So first off, he told me that I was a generational 6 super soldier, and when he was talking about it, when he was talking about my file, and when he was telling me that I was a generational 6 super soldier, he was so he was so happy, and he was laughing, and I was trying to tell him to get to the point. Like, what does that mean? I didn't even know what a generational super soldier meant. I didn't even know what that implied. What was that? And he was like, oh boy, oh my gosh, ha ha, and your file is so big. Oh my God. Yeah, and apparently I had over 150 files, which was a lot. I don't know if that is a lot, but I don't know. I don't know nothing about I didn't know anything about the ACIO, and I didn't know anything about what he was even looking at. So he told me that I had specialties in teleportation, time travel, ninjutsu, and he told me that I teleported to Puerto Rico in front of a lot of people, and then I just disappeared, and that's apparently documented, and I can research that. I haven't researched it. I mean, I researched it, but I haven't found it yet. What else? Who else did he say I was? He told me that my energy field can be felt from miles away. He told me I've done a lot of things that would probably take all day to explain, and that was like my first conversation that I had with him. He told me that he told me a lot, to the point where it was like I would just had to just hang up, because at that point of even my evolution, I was just kind of like wigged out by that. And my friend was looking at me like I am like Neo in the Matrix. So my whole vacation to Florida, I was just thinking about what Peter said and what he was talking about, and it was just bizarre. And it's just, to me at that point, it was just crazy. But then as I grow older and I start to think about the things that he said, and I meet up with James, and I start to remember certain things about my past, I can see that there is like a deeper world, a darker world out there that just, it is what it is. When I was dating this girl a few years ago, I would channel this being named Caius, and he didn't have a name. He actually gave me that name just as a reference point to his consciousness. So Caius wasn't a being per se. He was more of like, he would describe himself as like a landscape of consciousness, or you can say like a collective consciousness. So he would bring in information just about the multiverse and how it's structured, and he said if you knew how the universe is structured, you can actually see life with new eyes. And that's what Caius would normally kind of like teach us. And so now after meeting James, I got in touch with other beings that I had no idea that I was in contact with, like a mantis being, this guy named Fred, or James, another guy named James, and this guy named this mantis being named Sue something, some weird name. And they all seem like they're very positively oriented. As far as like this, and I got also in touch with one of my alters named Shadow, who was also, I guess he's familiar with James Rink too, on a few missions, so to speak. And we still got to talk to him and get to know him, because the strata was low apparently, because I had to use the bathroom and my mind was focused on using the bathroom, so we couldn't really get in touch with Shadow like that. Shadow's abilities were telepathy, time travel, and teleportation. So that's what he went on to say. Now, then the communication eventually was lost after that, after we got to know him in that aspect. Peter, the insider from the ACIO, and he told me that a lot of my abilities were teleportation, time travel, and telepathy. So there's a link there. You know, after talking to Peter about this shadow guy, it's I feel like he has I feel like I have a link with him on a very spiritual level, because I'm enraptured with Sonic the Hedgehog, and I've always identified with Sonic, and one of his alter egos' name is Shadow. So it's kind of ironic that a being like Shadow would come through me. And he also said that when he takes physical form, he is just one big shadow. He is like just a big shadow. Like, he's all dark. That's what he said through the channeling. I will also go on to say, throughout my life, I have seen dark shadows. Throughout my life, I've been in an incident where right before I got into a car accident and I wrecked my Honda Civic. I was with one of my friends at this bakery in North Carolina. And before I got into the car, we were looking for something in the car, and my friend got into the car, and all of a sudden, I swear to God, like 3 black shadows whirled around my car and slammed the car door shut. And I don't even think I told you that, James. Never told you that. This happened. I've seen these black shadows on 3 occasions in my life. The first time I saw black shadows was in 2008. When I was just sitting down on my couch, and I saw this black shadow just appear from my peripheral, and I looked at it, and I saw it floating, and it was just gone. It just went away. Now, the second time I saw a black shadow was when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was at Amelie's French Bakery in the parking lot. This was right before I crashed my car because my brakes were kind of weak. So, me and my friend, we were looking for something in the car. We were searching for it all, like, it just, I know I was looking for something. I don't actually remember what I was looking for, but I was looking for something, and all the doors were open. So, we just came back from like a party, and we stayed up all night, and it was like 6 a.m. in the morning. So we're tired, and I'm trying to go back home. We're looking for whatever we're looking for, and all of a sudden, like 3 black shadows whirled around my car and slammed the car shut. And I had a witness to that. And I asked him, I was like, bro, did that just happen? He was like, yeah, that just happened. And so later, after I found the item that I was looking for, got into the car, drove down Independence Boulevard, and then my brakes gave out, and then I ran into a power line, snapped the power line in half, and crashed the car. That was just a moment in time for me. The third time I saw a black shadow was when I was with the same guy. I was with the same dude, and we were playing PlayStation 2 in the gym in my apartment complex. Hooked up the PlayStation 2 up to the TV, and I'm just like I'm feeling weird. I'm just feeling weird. I feel odd, and I see this. I happen to turn around real slowly, and I see this ominous black figure just hanging, just like that. And right before I can even react, it just went away. Me and my friend just saw that, and that was the third time I saw those shadows. And so it's kind of ironic that there was a black shadow coming through me through this regression, saying that I can teleport, and I have telepathy, and I'm real versed in time travel. And I believe that because I am so interested in those type of topics anyway. After the regression that me and James did, the entities that were on the ship, the ship that I saw that was outside of time was a mantis being, and there were a bunch of Andromedans. They said that they don't need to have that ship in order to facilitate the communication between me and them. They just needed the ship as a frame of reference for my own mind and for my own sake, so that way I don't go insane. Because apparently they're on such a higher dimensional level that they just can just materialize themselves anywhere across the cosmos, from my impression of what they were saying. So I feel that they're highly intelligent. They said that I needed a vibrational attunement, because at the path that I was going down in that time, I was gonna go down another parallel time track apparently. So they were adjusting my frequency so that I could go down the path that I was meant to go down. So hence why I guess, I don't want to say they abducted me, but I guess since I actually enjoyed that experience, but it was very fascinating to me. But I want to say that, even as I'm like speaking right now, I'm almost kind of like remembering that. It's weird. It's kind of bizarre. Like, now that I had the regression, and now that I'm now harping back on that moment, I'm almost in a sense kind of remembering me being kind of like on a table. They wanted to adjust my frequency because in that moment in time, my consciousness was going down another parallel time track, and that parallel time track was taking me down a path that my higher self didn't sign up for. So they adjusted my frequency so that way I can go down the path that I was meant to go down, the path that I agreed to go down, I guess, before I incarnated into a physical body. So I channeled this Gray called Gray 1519. He was a parallel counterpart of myself. He is 5'2", and he told me that I am 80% ET, extraterrestrial. I have Pleiadian, I have Syrian, I have Sasani, I have Anunnaki DNA all mixed within inside me. And James asked the question, so how do we maintain peace on our world? And he said, we need to stop wars, we need to stop notions of greed, we need to stop polluting our planet. And because our planet is going down the same time track that the Greys are going down. His planet was destroyed because of greed and war. And so he's in our timeline now to pretty much warn us that if we don't straighten up and fly right, that we're going to wind down a similar path and look like him. I also channeled my counterpart, and his name was also James. He is from the year 2070, and I went back on a mission to the Renaissance era with also James Rink, where I met there, I guess. And my counterpart also said that I was a freelance agent. And also James was too, was a freelance agent. And me and Rink, we were on an espionage mission during the Renaissance. And he didn't actually disclose as to why we were down in that era of time, because it would probably upset the timeline now. I want to harken back and say that on my first regression that I channeled a being that touched James' nose while we were doing the regression. And he goes on to say that that being who touched his nose was Nikolai, one of James's hybrid children. So what I'm going to do right now is to show you my channeling abilities, where I am going to show you how I can do automatic writing. I can channel the same sense that I have for my art and the same sense that I have for channeling, and transmigrate it into automatic writing for you. I feel like I have a clear conduit to, I guess, my source, or to my higher self. And I've been channeling it for years now, off and on, whenever the time is right. And what I just did was I pretty much just communicated with it, just asked it simple questions. Who are you? Why are you here? And all that. And so what I got was, who are you? And the response was, why? And then I say, because I'm curious. Then it says, then you are curious. And then I said that you are funny. And then it said, then I am funny. Perhaps you would like to ask your question in a different way for more clarity. So essentially what it's saying is, because I called it curious, it's now curious. And then because I said you're funny, it's now funny. And so then I asked it, do you have a name or go by some sort of identity? And I got the response, no. However, for the purposes of this dialogue, you can call me Chadwick. And I said, how come you don't have a name? And it said that I am outside of your spatial abstraction. And I said, what does that mean? The dimension you call time. I don't require a name. However, I can for your relative understanding. Yeah, period. And I said, what is your mission or purpose? And it said, to watch and observe. And I said, why are you watching us? And then he said, for more clarity of the infinite. And I said, how is this going to help you? And then it says, for greater understanding of me, myself. And so far, that's session 1 of the channeling. So when I channel, I feel my personality starting to fade away. The sensation of who I am, it starts to go. I don't feel the familiarity of myself anymore, and I start to feel a new energy start to leak in, kind of like a leaking in a hose. Like I just feel this hose leakage sensation, and I just feel a hole in my armor of my personality, and something else is trying to come in, and I allow it to come in, and I feel like it doesn't come in all the time is because it needs my permission to do it. That's the sensation that I get. So in other words, when the reason why this doesn't happen to me all the time is because I feel like it is going off of a prime directive where it needs my permission to do it. And so once I give it permission to do it, that's when it allows itself to come in to my personality and starts to take over my mind. I have this one person that I know that I can channel, and his name is Caius. And he is apparently, from what he tells me, is that he is like a landscape of consciousness spreading out into infinity. And you can tap into him just by knowing that he exists. And he has no name, but he gave me the name Caius as like a reference point to his existence. I also channel the Tesseract, which is the sixth platonic solid that we are inside right now in our physical reality. As we move from room to room in our house, as we go outside, as we get into our car, as we go to work, we're inside the Tesseract. We're actually moving in the same location. We're not actually going to anywhere because there's really nowhere to go. You're essentially in one space from the day you were born until the point you are right now, moving, having the location move around you. So therefore, location and distance is the biggest illusion of our society, thinking that we go to other locations. And if we were to know that the location is moving around us and we're using our feet as, let's say, a permission slip to go to a new location, then we can see things in a different way. And so essentially, if you can grasp that concept and play with it in your brain, you can actually comprehend the Tesseract in your day-to-day life. And I can also channel other beings who give me the permission to do so. I feel like if you have a being that requires a connection, I feel like I can become a host body for it if it wants to come down into me. Not saying that it has to, because, you know, I'm sure they do other things up there, but if it wants to, and if it's ready to, I will be more than willing to be a host for that entity to facilitate an interaction with it. So yes, and I've done that before. Absolutely. I also do art, and my art are representations of the images that I see in my brain that I can't really show people or talk to people about, because this is a very real thing for me, the stuff that I'm seeing in my head. And I feel like the fact that I can draw it on a canvas or a piece of paper, it will bring more clarity to the viewer who is watching, looking at my art. And the picture format really helps me drive my points home, because it's a very complex geometrical style of art. And I believe it's a real place that is superimposed on top of our daily life, and you would just have to look at it to see it. But you make everything alright when you hold and you squeeze me. But you make everything alright when you hold and you squeeze me tight. But you make everything alright when you hold and you squeeze me. This is the finished product. Now, this picture is about downloading information from the infinite intelligence. Everybody can do it. It's pretty easy if you don't have an expectation to do to what the information you're bringing down is. So what this guy is doing is he is uploading his intention up into the ether, and as he does that, he breaks the frequency down into billions of different bits and billions of different particles. And then, like a radio, he steps it back down and transmits the information that he's getting from the universe, almost kind of like a related YouTube video. And the way you can do this is if you have no expectations on what the information is going to be. That if you have an expectation, it will stifle your progress in getting information from the ether or your higher self or whatever. And there's a lot of other subtle nuances, like the chakras, being in one with nature, synchronicity, and having this connection and knowing that you have it all the time at your convenience. Just the thing is that most people don't know that they have it because they're taught that this doesn't exist. They're taught out of their own power. So I drew this picture to kind of highlight what we all can do very easily. But the dichotomy is to release your expectations about what type of information you will get germane to your intention. This picture reflects everybody on the planet. You can be super soldier, you can be human, boy, girl, whoever. We all have this infinite connection simply because of the fact that we exist. The fact that we exist is a conscious decision from a higher power. So, and you cannot sever the connection of you ever being exist. The idea of you not existing is a concept all within itself. You use your own power to create non-existence. The fact that you exist, you are meant to exist, and you are a conscious decision to exist. So with that comes an ability to tap into your infinite intelligence source. And And because we were brought into a world of illusion we were brought into this third dimensional matrix to, in a sense, find ourselves from a new perspective. We're, in a sense, playing a game with ourselves, forgetting that we have connections like this on higher levels. Now, I believe that because you exist, you are worthy of anything. The simple fact that you exist, you are worthy to exist. If you were not worthy, you would not exist, period. So therefore, if you know that about yourself, you know that confidence, you have all the confidence in the world. You're just confident in your lack of confidence. You're confident, you're always confident, and you're always connected. You're using your connection, your infinite connection, to be disconnected. You know what I mean? To have the appearancy of being disconnected. So what this picture represents now is a person who is setting an intention, who is uploading his intention up into the universe, and is, in a sense, stepping up his intention almost like a radio frequency. And as the universe hears the intention of the uploader, it's breaking that frequency down into millions of different frequencies, and it's stepping it down, downloading into the person's consciousness as if it was like a related YouTube video. And the only way you can do this is if you do not have an expectation on what the information is going to become. The minute you have an expectation on what this is going to be, what your information is going to become, then you will sever the connection. The expectation will always kill your infinite knowledge and your connection to the universe, because you don't know what you need. You don't know what you need. The universe knows what you need. It doesn't matter about what you want. It's only about what you need. The universe knows that far down the line that you require this, and you might not know that you need that at any given moment. So it's very important that you need to release your expectation on how you think the future will be, and let whatever come through you. And this is what I do to create art. I release my expectation on how the art is going to come about, and I let my pen just move in the way it needs to move. And the minute I start judging my art, that's when I become stifled and I hit a wall. I have to just trust that my pen is going to where it needs to go. There's more to it, but it's a very in-depth picture. But essentially what this drawing means is just learning how to tap into the infinite in your own way. And if you were to look at this picture more, you can see the subtle nuances that I put within the picture. A lot of my artwork is just personal artwork to me, and you don't really have to believe it. It's just in my reality, I just really like to present myself in this manner. My art, I kind of like see this superimposed in my reality, almost kind of like another parallax. These frames represent movement every second to create the apparency of one object. So each frame, billions and billions and billions and trillions and trillions and trillions of times per second, like a flip book, is creating the matter that we think is solid. And we're actually not moving anywhere, because location is just an illusion. The location actually moves around us and creates the apparency that we are moving to different locations. So and so I like to play with the concept that I am just moving in one spot. As I'm moving in one spot, I am almost, in a sense, kind of making things in my imagination grow bigger. So let's say I have this pen, and I can either move in space and make it grow, or I can use my hand as a permission slip to make the pen grow bigger. And I like to think of things like that and look at things like that to my convenience, and it's not in a sense like bad. It's not like that's like a better way of looking at life. It's just a different way of looking at life. And I like to use the continuity of my life as a unit of measure to see how much I've changed through time. So it's very essential to use your continuity to see how much growth you've had within a sufficient amount of time. Or you can step outside of your movie and see it for what it is, as you in the middle, you the hero of your own movie in the middle, and everything is rotating around you. And so this art piece reflects that. If you were to see yourself as the eye, your oversoul eye, just moving all the frames at once, and you're walking around in different directions, jumping up and down, left and right, you, in a sense, are pretty much living your life in the way that you think you're living your life. Or you can look at this as if the world is just moving around you, and it's just going to keep on moving around you, creating the illusion that you are going to different places. So this type of art piece reflects that idea. And also, you can say that this is also the inside of a tesseract. And I believe that the tesseract is the last level of physical solidity. That it contains all the infinite frames of reality. It's the last platonic solid that exists, and it doesn't exist in our reality because we exist within inside it. And so it holds our light body, our Merkaba, together, so that way we can have a frame of reference, so that way we can communicate with everything that's relevant. So as you can see yourself as your light body just moving around in one spot, and you're aware of this notion, and I feel like if you were to just apply it and just practice it in your life, you can see things differently. It may work for some people, it may not work for other people, but for me, I can say it absolutely works. A lot of my art is about realizing your multidimensional self. Now, this picture it reflects the tesseract previously shown in the last picture. So each square represents a person. Now, each square of the tesseract rotates inside itself, and rotates, and it creates the illusion of movement. You could go look it up on Google and see how the tesseract moves. Go look up a tesseract GIF, and you'll see how the tesseract moves inside of itself. And you kind of like focus on one square and you can see how it just keeps on coming in and out, in and out, in and out. The person in this picture, he is representative of a parallel self of the individual at any given moment. So as you're walking through the tesseract, you are shifting through different billions and billions and billions of different versions of yourself. Almost like a, how can I say it? It's like a file cabinet for frames of your reality. And as it's moving and moving and moving and moving and moving and moving, you can start to perceive yourself outside of it. 444 means in numerology that the ascended masters are watching. That's an angel number. So every time you see 444, it represents the ascended masters are just watching you at any given moment at a random point. And so what this reflects is that this is becoming aware of your power and knowing that you have the ability to become a multidimensional being, and you can shift out of the reality, any given reality that you prefer: earth, wind, fire, water. And the earth is the person's third eye, which represents his own divinity as a multidimensional being. And he can see himself with the eyes, through the eyes of the projectionist, the tesseract. So as he's doing that, he's almost, in a sense, cutting through the fabric of reality to see himself inside the movie and objectively look at himself through neutral eyes. Now, this picture represents the Kundalini, where once you have each chakra balanced and flowing properly, you actually can summon your Kundalini energy Which, and the magic lamp represents the genie in the bottle, which is actually what that is. It's like a genie, and all your chakras are just are spinning correctly in one modality to create the genie, the kundalini awakening of your soul. And you can, in a sense, in that state, grant yourself any wish that you want. And when you come back down from your kundalini awakening, you essentially can bring down home the information that you've gotten from that state of being. This is a timeline, a linear timeline. This timeline goes all the way from one infinity to another infinity. And it's almost, you can almost, in a sense, say that this timeline is like a shifting reality timeline where you can exit one negative scenario timeline and then just follow through to a positive infinite timeline. And through the eyes of the projectionist, through the Tesseract, you can, in a sense, shift your way out of any negative scenario that you want by shifting the frames. Each frame represents a universe, like universes within frames, within frames, within frames, within frames. Because outer space is just a holographic projection. Frames exist on all levels of dimensionality. So so this picture highlights that, like the frames of all infinite spatial abstractions. And these here are galaxies within the frames, within each frame of reality, spawning into infinity. And then just spawning and spawning and spawning and spawning. Each galaxy can represent planet Earth, can represent you, can represent whatever. The frames hold everything on all levels. You need a sense of continuity to even have an experience. So of the highest level, you are actually you are dumbing yourself down, I guess, for lack of a better term, to create a new experience and see yourself from a new perspective. This is why you have a linear progression to begin with, so that way you can grow and have change in your life and see how much you have changed. So through these frames, you're comparing yourself in a linear notion, and knowing that you can tap into your oversoul perspective and see all frames, all past lives simultaneously, comes great power, essentially. This is another one of my art pictures. It's almost, in a sense, like a projector film picture, but it represents the Tesseract, your brain in the middle of it, projecting the planet Earth, all different infinite versions of Earth that can ever be fathomed. The eye here is coming from the pineal gland inside the brain of this Earth. And as the eye can see outside the Tesseract, it is looking at all the different versions of Earth billions of times per second to create the illusion of movement and the idea of your physical reality. The number 1010 means your godhood, your God divinity. This actually represents the fifth dimension here. And as you come down, you can see that this is the third dimension, where your reality looks 3D and everything looks solid. This is your continuity spectrum. This is where you live your wake up, go to bed, have dinner, go watch a movie. This is pretty much you're inserting the VCR and just watching your life play. When you upload to a higher dimension, you actually see inside the projector, and you can see the frames of reality shifting billions of times per second just to create your illusion of movement in a higher dimension. And through activating your pineal gland, you can see through the illusion of the world that you're in. And in a sense, this is what you look like. That's like another mirror image of your greater self, your oversoul. Now, I just want to note that a lot of the art has a lot more things that I'm saying right now. Like a lot of this art that you're seeing means way more than what I'm portraying right now. Like it's also up to your interpretation to see how you see it. But I just want to say in general, as just a basic synopsis of this one, you're in the third dimension, and here when you raise your frequency up, you actually start to spin and activate the tesseract, which actually gives your pineal gland the necessary energy it needs for you to perceive into higher dimensions where your oversoul and your higher self exists. And so as the tesseract opens out, you get to see the film strip of your reality, and you get to look at it, and you can edit it in any way you want. You can cut it. You can watch this film here. You can watch another film there. Your higher self knows where you're gonna go on your life path. This right here is the tesseract. This is your reality that you see yourself walking through every second, every billionth of a second. You're walking through this tesseract, creating these frames of reality to create the illusion of movement. I drew the planet Earth because the Earth represents space. It can also represent you, the person watching this video. But I want to highlight the fact that the planet Earth is space itself is contained within frames also, because all levels, all dimensions of reality is considered to be inside frames of reality to create progress and movement. Outside of the frames, you get raw information, raw power, raw knowledge from the ether, the void. You know what I mean? When you exist outside of the tesseract and you can perceive outside of your story that you are, the story that you are, you can download the necessary information to choose what movie theater you want to walk into, for a lack of a better term. So you can invest your money, your energy into watching a horror flick, a drama flick, or a funny comedy flick, or a romance movie, just by tapping into the infinite intelligence and knowing that that's a story that you want to watch for yourself. Now this black hole represents the void, where all frames come from, and this is the part where all information through the event horizon of the black hole is, in a sense, around. And so all the frames are in the middle. This picture can go on forever, but I just drew a piece of it. So I drew the black hole in the middle to represent raw information, raw data, because his eye is almost, in a sense, downloading information from the event horizon of the black hole to get to so he can perceive the story that he wants to perceive, instead of being subjected to his own reality as if it's really something that's like outside of himself, when it really isn't. A lot of these pictures are up for your own interpretation. My brief analogy is scratching the surface of what these pictures actually mean. So you will actually get a better interpretation of these pictures if you use your own intuition. But I can give you a rough draft of what these mean. In my awareness, this person, he's pretty much is using his third eye to channel the information through the pyramids of Giza, through the Orion constellation, to draw in the same knowledge that the Egyptians used to use. He is using the power that's underneath the left foot of the pyramid, the chamber that is probably going to be discovered soon, to draw in the energy that he needs to facilitate his life path. So this is my artwork. I've spent years and years drawing this wall. It's very personal to me. Each art piece has its own meaning to it. And we can go in depth for each art piece. I literally can talk about each one in depth for hours, and this is what I do. I'm an artist, and I don't really show this wall to a lot of people because this is very, very personal to me. A lot of people who know me know that I have this, but the people who are like my acquaintances and see me out, they don't really know this side of me. So yeah, this is my art wall. Welcome to my madness. We are an infinite concept. We are, as a human being, we are multidimensional beings. And so this art piece, I drew this while I was locked up. This represents the infinite amount of Earths that we are shifting through billions of times per second. So each Earth represents a human being or a different version of you. And you can use these Earths as like an example of you just walking from room to room, going down the street or whatever. And here you are walking in place through the Tesseract. Now, in each Earth represents a reality that this man does not choose to be in. So what he does is he realizes that he's on a different planet and he's a new person who never contained the experiences that he had in one instant, and he is now new. So what happens is, as he realizes this, he shifts into another version of him. Each cube is another version of you, another person, another planet Earth. So he, in a sense, is in a negative scenario. He can just swipe right or swipe left. Yeah. Now, here is a man who is walking. He is, in a sense, collapsing his autonomous human beingness to a point and re-expanding himself back out. And as he's having different thoughts throughout the day, he's creating his reality in a different way. So see, the triangle is on the top of his brain, and now the triangle's here. Now he's having different thought patterns, and now he's recreating his reality. So essentially, he's creating his own reality. And I just want to say that this is all still up for your own unique interpretation. You'll get your own, you'll get a clear example from your own interpretation versus my short little example. So now moving on to the next one, this man right here, he realizes that his Earth is just an illusion. The pendulum, the Earth, the illusion of his reality is hypnotizing him into believing that this Earth is real. The reality that he is in is real. So as the pendulum swings, he is hypnotized by the illusion of movement and the illusion of all the events in his life. And for him to even perceive that this rhythm exists, he has to tap into his higher self, his Merkaba. Moving on again, this man here is literally shifting into different versions of himself to create different people every aspect. Yeah, he's pretty much, in a sense, going through his own spaceship, in a sense, in his own imagination, shifting through different parallel reality versions of himself consciously. A lot of my drawings, they build on top of each other. So let's say you see an Earth in one photo, in one drawing. It will represent maybe, let's say, the continuity spectrum of your reality in most of my drawings. Let's say you see the eyes looking like that. You know what I mean? Just assume that eye is looking through, assume that this picture is looking through that eye. So you look for the similarities in each drawing to get a bigger picture of what you're actually seeing, because all these drawings are pieces of a puzzle piece, and if you know how to look at them, they can show you a even bigger picture than what I'm trying to show you on the paper. So for example, like this picture is the Earth, showing that your world is just an illusion. The Earth is equipped to a pendulum, hypnotizing you, and you're just enraptured in your reality, in your day-to-day life, whether you're on your computer or on your cell phone, or you're listening to this. This is essentially what's happening to you on a higher level, to give you the illusion that you are living a life. And the only way you can see that is through your higher self. The next one is pretty much showing you this guy is, in a sense, shifting realities every second. So he's moving, but he's moving consciously. knowing that and the geometry represents his Merkaba, his reality that he's in. So as he is shifting into a new body, into a new person, hence why the cube is colored in a different way to represent something that's different. This guy, he recognizes that there's more to the world than meets the eye. So he, long story short, goes into his spaceship, into his Merkaba, activates his pineal gland and sees that he's actually part of the whole. So he knows now that his soul now is contained within inside of his body is contained within inside of his soul. So yeah, pretty much that's what that means. This guy is walking through life, hypnotized by the illusion of his world, and pretty much is this is a long story, but yeah, he's pretty much just recognizing that he is just he is the reality that he thought that he was inside. This one represents ancient Egypt. So you have the 3 Egyptian pyramids, and I believe when you meditate and you meditate on the pyramids of Giza, they can connect you to infinite intelligence. And the Egyptians, they used to connect to the High Council of Orion, which is what that constellation is, and the Wi-Fi signal connecting to the all universe, to the infinite universe. And underneath the pyramids are said to be said to be an interdimensional vortex. So this is why I feel like if you were to meditate on the pyramids of Egypt, you can take your mind somewhere interesting. This one, this guy, he is in the Tesseract right now, and he is realizing that that your world is pretty much just an illusion. When the Tesseract opens, you get your light ship, your Merkaba, your light body. Each frame is flipping trillions of times a second to create the holographic illusion of the planet Earth. So, depending on what vanishing point you're seeing from, whether it's the 3rd dimension, the 4th dimension, or the 5th dimension, you can see through either eye. You can see through the eye of the 3rd, the eye of the 4th, the eye of the 5th. But if you were to see through the eye of the 5th dimension, you can see that all the frames are actually moving really, really fast around you, and you're in the center, projecting the holographic illusion of what you would call your planet Earth and space. Or this could also represent yourself. This can represent your galaxy, your Milky Way galaxy. This can represent pretty much essentially any physical thing out here in the universe. So yeah, when the Tesseract opens, you get all the infinite frames of reality. And then when it closes, it goes back into its 5th platonic solid state. Its 6th platonic solid state. On this drawing, this is you. This is the Tesseract. So as the frames shift through your consciousness, you actually project the holographic illusion of your planet. So and each frame is a brand new frame, brand new planet Earth. I drew the Earth exploding because you shifted out of an Earth that was exploding 1 pico of a second. So the minute you start to focus on pretty much the negativity is going to be the reality that you get. Or if you decide to focus on the positive, then that's going to be the reality that you get. This one is analogous to you walking in place and having the Tesseract just around your head, and having the Tesseract move around you. And only way you can see this perspective is if your heart and your mind is connected. And this guy assumes that this guy has done a lot of spiritual work within himself to in a sense see this greater perspective of himself. And once he sees through the Tesseract, the energy of his light body starts to rise, or you can say it's Kundalini, to achieve ascension. You know what I mean? His male and female polarities are balanced, and this guy is in a sense one with himself in the universe. This one is representative of the oversoul perspective. So this is essentially your greater self, seeing all lifetimes spawn into infinity in every direction possible, fathomable. So before you're born, this is, in a sense, what you would look like. And then you would, in a sense, trickle down into a life, and then once you are born, you're gonna, you can connect, and this can represent a life that you're living from birth to death. Same thing with here, but you're cross-connecting from different lives all the time. It's not like you are having one life after another. You literally are actually experiencing all lives simultaneously at once. But the apparency of you living one life after another is how you experience it through your linear perspective, when actually all lives are happening at once, kind of like this one, like the television set. The television set kind of like has every single life playing at once. So you know that like on one station you're watching let's say BET or Nickelodeon, but you also know that Fox News is playing on another station. So this one represents the oversoul perspective, where you can actually see all your lives just happening simultaneously and at once. And instead of thinking that it's one life after another in a linear progression. This guy is living a life. This guy is living his life. He's as he's walking, he's collapsing his existence to a point and re-expanding back and forth, back and forth. This represents your breath every second. So each time he walks, he's breathing. And you see, as he's walking, the tree is going back. So this is apparently you going about your day, going about your life from moment to moment. And here is an awakened person connecting to his oversoul perspective. This can, in a sense, represent the greater portion of yourself looking at all the bodies that you are connected to in the infinite. And this timeline is another version of yourself. And I drew the geometry connecting to these people to represent that, yes, they are similar, but they're also different. So even though this life is one life, this life is a whole nother life that is connected to another version of that person. And then the oversoul can see that. I don't want to spend too much time talking on all of them, because I can literally talk all day about one picture. I put a lot of love and care into these pictures, so I don't want to like spend all day just talking about each one. So now this one, here's a guy who is inside of his tesseract. And his light body is activated to the point where he can open his oversoul self to extract infinite intelligence, infinite knowledge, infinite, unlock the illusion of his planet to pretty much see the VCR. This is in a sense like a VCR of his reality, or you can say in short terms like a tesseract. So he kind of like inserts himself into the life that he's going to be, or incarnates himself into the VCR and projects the illusion of his world onto the screen of what he calls his life. And then, 444 means the Ascended Masters are watching you. This one is pretty much saying that everywhere is here and now. So you have all time, all places. This square represents this location, this location, this location, this location. So everywhere is here and now, happening all at once. And he's using his vehicle, his Merkaba, to travel from place to place. This is pretty much, in a sense, your Kundalini energy. You pretty much do certain practices in order to raise your spiritual energy for you to get what you need done in life, and maybe have certain epiphanies about certain nuances that you may be thinking about. You're taking in cosmic energy from the ether and drawing it into your soul, and balancing your male and your female energies to create, you can say, like, unlock certain portions of your DNA, being one with nature. This is the Rin kanji. That means I am empowered with vital energy. So yeah, this guy is this right here is the Tesseract. So this can be anybody. This can be you, your mom, or whatever, and he's just walking through the hallway of his linear life. And when you have the eyes of the projectionist, you can see outside of the movie that you're in and go back all the way back into the infinite and see yourself from a new perspective. This is, in a sense, your light body spaceship. You pretty much, this is the Big Bang right here, this point. And as awareness starts to rise and your frequency starts to rise, you start to create the universe, spin out, and realize that this is, you are now having a human experience. And as you are having a human experience, you see that and realize that you are actually everything. These are frames of reality shifting billions of times per second, realizing that he is actually a greater being inside himself. And he now knows that he is connected to the infinite consciousness, being in one with nature, 369 Nikola Tesla, all the way back down. And so this also represents your breath. So as you know that you are the Big Bang and you're creating the Big Bang every breath that you take, I usually use this as like a breathing exercise. So I'll breathe from the point all the way up and back down. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then every time I inhale, I get more information from the infinite. This is the Tesseract where all your infinite frames are. And the Tesseract holds all the frames of your illusional matrix of reality. So as the frames flip, you start to get the projection of your body, of your planet Earth. And once you raise your frequency, you get to see outside of your design. And then you can see that you're actually a greater being altogether. This being realizes his worth, and this is actually what you look like. I've seen this image after taking DMT and trying certain psychedelics. I've actually seen myself look like this, and the information that they were telling me was to always see that you are part of a greater system that you might not see from your vanishing point. That's what the DMT beings would tell me. This is the Earth, and here's your body ascending right here, balancing. All your chakras are balanced. You shift up, and then you're, in a sense, taking in the cosmic Rin energy, the I am empowered with vital energy, and you're tapping into that and bringing it back down into your chakra column, back into the planet Earth. So yeah, and then this one is now downloading infinite data from the universe. So with his intention, he is literally taking a specific request and is taking it all into his body. And all he could be trying to manifest something, but all he's doing is just sending out a request, taking out hold on, let me say that again. Okay, so the ones and zeros can mean energy. It can mean cosmic energy. It can mean data, information, whatever. He's just bringing it down through the Nexus gate all the way into his light body spaceship Merkaba, into his being. And this one here, he is tapping into the information of the pyramids of Giza. I tried to draw the pyramids. I drew the pyramid over here, and then another one corresponding. And as I drew that, this man is becoming aware of a higher dimension, in a sense, balancing his sun and moon, his eternal life, and this means the Andromedan High Council. So that's what he's, in a sense, connecting to right here. The Tesseract can also be equivalent to like the Garden of Eden, like the tree, like the apple that Eve ate. You know what I mean? So I actually have the apple hanging from a tree that represents the Tesseract. And and not a lot of people are willing to I guess see the side of themselves. So the Kundalini, the snake, rises up and awakens the person out of the dream that he's in. And here are the two snakes that represent your Kundalini awakening to have, and 4141 means to make a wish. This is talking about soul contracts. Well, when two people are in love and they're meant to be, and they're meant to teach each other something about themselves in this lifetime. So, in a sense, you can say that this is analogous to like Adam and Eve, in the tree of knowledge and the apple. So this can happen to you too. This guy, he is consciously shifting realities right now. He is taking each frame of Earth and he is downloading it through his pineal gland, which is the eye of Horus right here. And the pineal gland represents the black hole, downloading information from the event horizon through the ether and taking the knowledge that he needs and putting it into his life. This is your pretty much what you look like on a higher level. This is your face in the third dimension, and then this is what you actually look like on a higher dimension. Now, what this guy is doing is he is shifting from one earth to another. So when he doesn't prefer an outcome, he's pretty much taking all the data and filtering it down to the new earth that he's seeing through. So Earth A, he's now shifting out of Earth A, his emotions, his everything, his past, all that, into Earth B in one instant. And this rotates, spins really, really fast to the point where it actually creates the planet Earth. So this, if your continuity was not spinning, you would, in a sense, see yourself as a different entity. So if you can see that this is spinning really, really fast, you would actually get the planet Earth. And then you, of course, would be, I guess, in any type of wherever you're at on the planet. We're using pyramid power right here. Pretty much using your consciousness to tap into the pyramid of Giza to help you balance your male and your female energies, all the way down. Here's your heart chakra, using your heart and your mind together to tap into the pyramid and the knowledge that's hidden from the general public that's underneath the pyramid. You can say that this is one human moving in different directions. This can also be different people at the same time. So this picture doesn't have to be just one person. It could be different people. It could be you moving in different directions. But also, this can mean also that these are different planet Earths. So I drew the Earth as the third eye, as for a representative for each person. This grid represents the matrix. And in Kuji In, this grid actually is the Kuji In grid, where you can implant certain kanjis into it to get a certain result, which is another story. So you, in a sense, if you wanted to shift realities, you can just shift from one body to another body to another body to another body. This is a picture that represents unity. This is a picture that represents many different things that we can spend hours talking about. But for the purposes of the video, I want you to kind of have your own interpretation on it, so that way you can have your own you'll actually get to a deeper meaning if you actually have your own interpretation of this picture in your own awareness. These are different people, or they can be you. This is, in a sense, representing your connection to other people, telepathy, unity, and you're, in a sense, downloading information from the source. The handprint Zai represents this represents the balance of nature and the balance of everything, just your chakras. This is the grid that I was talking about in the last picture, and these people are all downloading information from the source, and this is the kanji that you would put into the grid right here if you were trying to put an intention. This means just downloading cosmic energy. So this represents a head. This is you. Now the reality, this is, in a sense, like a wall, like a membrane, just kind of like moving, flipping, just coming from the infinite ether, just coming out this way. And in between each frame is the Tesseract world, where everybody's Tesseract is floating. And in a sense, this is what this whole thing is one big Tesseract, and it's just moving at you billions and trillions of times per second to create your movie, your experience, your physical reality experience. And in between each frame, there's no time. So each frame is coming at you from the infinite all the way up, right up until you can see in between the frame. This guy right here, he is downloading information from the Pyramid of Giza. He's taking his soul energy, and he is, in a sense, getting in touch with the Sphinx and bringing it up to the King's Chamber, and using this idea as like an astral projection method, as like a you can say like a key to pretty much astral project his body out into the cosmos to draw any type of information that he wants. All right, let's go over here. And you're probably wondering what 11010 means. This is actually a binary code that represents abundance. And so this entire image actually is this is the Sri Yantra, and the Sri Yantra represents literally abundance. And you can look this up on Google on what it is, because the Sri Yantra can go into different semantics, like the petals over here, and each line represents a certain virtue of the spirit. So this, in a sense, I'm downloading abundance into my life with this. This is you seeing through the reality of the illusion of your reality. Now everything is fixed right in this picture, like the house and whatever, you know what I mean? And so as he changes his thought patterns, the reality starts to change. As he starts to think differently, things will just start to be different, where the airplane is going up and all that. And this symbol represents the seventh hybrid race, the black star. And we get into that for hours. So now this picture right here is pretty much your eyes looking straight. So if this picture is actually moving, if you were to see the eyes starting to move from here to here to here, you're, in a sense, tapping into your pineal gland, your third eye. So there's one eye, right here's two eyes, one eye, and then one big eye, and they're moving into each other. like this to form the big eye in the middle, which is your third eye, connecting your brain hemispheres to the lambda state, where you are in high acceleration and you can tap into that frequency to facilitate any type of spiritual connection you want with, maybe, let's say, an entity, or just, yeah, pretty much, in a sense, that's what you're doing. You're just downloading, in a sense, specific cosmic information with this one. And the pyramids of Giza are up here, the black hole. This can mean someone's linear continuity of their life. The guy is walking from planet Earth to planet Earth to planet Earth to planet Earth. New body, new body, new body, new body. This also represents someone else's continuity stream, their life. And in a sense, you're in a void, racing, just creating light. This is like your light body just racing, like the fourth dimension. So as your life goes on, you literally are just creating the reality that you prefer, just in the void, just within the stream of light. And this guy represents him realizing what's happening, and he's activated his Merkaba and broke out of his continuity stream. So this is his light body spaceship, and he broke out. This guy's still in it, but for the clarity, he's just showing you that what's actually happening. And the Vesca Pisces is, in a sense, creating his reality every second. This is, in a sense, your oversoul. This guy is consciously shifting through different realities every second, every moment, constantly doing it, and he's aware of the fact that he's doing it. And he is vibrating, activating his Merkaba to actually see this perspective. Now, this one I drew a long time ago. That's one of my first ones that I drew. Somebody who's waking up into their divinity, into their own divinity, into their own power. This one is pretty much, this one, I drew this, in 2011, 2012. This one was like a really good one to draw. I remember me actually being in a channeling state, drawing this like an actual, like almost eyes halfway closed, halfway open, drawing this, and I wasn't even aware of what my pen was doing. This was like a pure channeling drawing, and that's why I had my eyes closed right here. This one right here is like my favorite one, because this shows the Tesseract opening and highlighting your light body when your chakras are aligned. And then when your chakras are aligned, you can actually have the eyes of the projectionist to see outside of the Tesseract, and connecting to your oversoul. And once the Tesseract opens, you can see every single infinite life that spawns within existence. And within your existence, because each frame, because there's different types of infinities. There's an infinity where everything that you think of is happening, and then there's an infinity where it's just you just doing everything fathomable. So this guy is almost, in a sense, looking into his own infinity, where every possible probable outcome that he could possibly do at any given moment, he is seeing from the eyes of the projectionist through the eyes of the Tesseract. This is another old one that I did. I drew that one when I was like 2013, 2012. I actually had somebody wanting to buy that one because it resonated a lot with her, because she's into astrology, and she saw that the planets were aligned, and she just felt something from this one. Almost sold this one for a lot of money, but I didn't want to. It was too personal to me, so I kept that one. So in a sense, yeah, he's just downloading cosmic energy from the event horizon of the black hole, and downloading all the information he needs to have his life just go the way it needs to go. A long story short, yeah. And so there's the planets, there's the sun. Yeah, and that's Earth. So the head represents him here on Earth. This drawing is your light body being activated. You are, in a sense, moving, shifting frames all the time to create the illusion of your world. This is the mirror that reflects each different. Let me say that again. Let me say this again. Okay, so this is your spaceship. Everybody has a light body ship, and so once you realize that, your Earth starts to become an illusion now, and you start to see through it, and you start to see that through the frames of reality that you are an infinite being in totality. Here you are inside your Merkaba, or you can say in a sense your torus. This is the toroidal field around your body, taking in all the ether, the cosmic energy, and inside the torus, you put the tesseract inside, and then you put the black hole inside. The tesseract actually helps sustain the tesseract actually help. This is your energetic field right here, and so when you put the tesseract and merge it with the torus, you actually have your physical universe. And then you put the black hole inside your torus, and you actually have raw downloading information capabilities. It becomes your supercomputer conductor, information gatherer network, which is the reality that you're inside. So essentially, your whole reality that you're living in is one big tesseract, and behind the tesseract is one big black hole, where which is the infinite void of just infinity. Here is you can say your oversoul right here, and he is in a sense splitting himself into two different polarities, male and female. And so here's his timeline going in one direction, then here's her timeline going in the other direction. So this is in a sense the projection, the film projector of your consciousness. I want to show you certain ones because a lot of these are kind of like hard to explain in so many words. So I want to do ones that are like that are actually like things that I can actually teach you, instead of, because like this will go into so many different things, and I can't really give you like a rough draft on this one. Like, to go see a lot of these, yeah, if you're recording, I'll just say it. A lot of these are hard to just like explain in just 10 seconds. I took a lot of time to like draw some of these, so it's kind of hard for me to just tell you what the meaning is of this one. You actually would get the meaning of it if you were to just stare at it and see what it's actually trying to tell you. Because for me to just be like, okay, this means that, I'd literally have to sit down with you for maybe about a few hours and tell you what each part of every part of this drawing means. You know what I mean? And including like the arrows and the earth, and then each line actually means, in all these photos, the lines all mean something too. You know what I mean? And I also like to embed my art with Reiki energy, because I also do Reiki. I put Shoku-rei symbols, and I start to use my pen and charge my pen, and I draw them with Reiki lines and love, and all of these pictures that I do are embedded with a certain frequency and a certain intention that I have to be in when I'm drawing these. So for somebody to tell me what does that mean, that's like a loaded question. That is such a loaded question for me to just get into like what all these mean. And to be honest with you, I kind of sound like a broken record trying to describe all these, because they are it's such a loaded question to just describe what. It's like trying to describe what a roller coaster is to somebody. You'll just get the surface level experience. You have to actually experience the roller coaster to actually know what it felt like to be on one. So I like to look at all these images like they're like roller coasters or like an experience. I'd actually have to sit down and have you have like an in-depth dialogue with each one of these pictures for you to really get the point home, because I put a lot of subliminal messages and a lot of cryptic stuff in it, so for that way your subconscious can pick it up too. So moving on, let's move on to this one. This one I actually drew when I was locked up in jail. The next three I drew when I was locked up in jail. I got locked up in jail for 4 months for, believe it or not, dancing. I'm a street performer, so Las Vegas has a stupid rule where if you have your speaker a few decibels over the sound ordinance, you'll get a citation, and then if you break that citation, you'll go to jail. So I was in jail and I drew this, and it was very hard for me to focus on drawing this because my cellmates were acting a fool in my cell. But I remember me really just excluding trying to ignore all the bullshit. And I was really, really homing down on this one in particular. All my cellmates thought I was crazy because I kept drawing eyes, and they thought I was in the Illuminati and all that BS, but no, it's not that. This is also you surfing through billions of frames per second to create your illusion of movement in your reality. And again, this is another one that's very deep that I can't really just say in a few words. This one was another one that I drew in jail while I was locked up for 4 months. This is, in a sense, the grid I was talking about earlier. This is the grid, the matrix grid. This guy actually, he's downloading infinite energy, infinite knowledge from the black hole through the illusion, through the projection of his reality. This one took a long time to draw, as you can see, because of all the ones and zeros. I just kept drawing it and drawing it and drawing it, and I had a lot of time to do it. That one in particular, I almost sold for 4 Snickers bars because I was so hungry. I was so hungry. They didn't feed us while we were locked up. They barely fed us anything. Lunch was nothing, and so to me, in that moment, 4 Snickers bars was a lot of food. So, but now I'm so glad I didn't do that. I'm so happy that I have this right here, and I can just sit here and marvel at it. I'm blessed that I didn't. I was this close to just selling that for 4 Snickers bars, but now I wouldn't do that for, like, this and this. All these are worth a lot to me now. And each picture is personal, and means so much. So I can get into depth about talking about this as far as the kanji, as far as what this symbol is specifically doing in this picture, and what type of energy it's downloading, and what that symbol means. And yeah, and that one is another one that I did when I was in the day room in the Las Vegas Correctional Center. While I was drawing this, I had literally all the inmates swarming around my desk, and somebody, one of the inmates said that he connected to this one. He said that it changed his life looking at it. Now, and I asked him, how did it change your life? And he was like, I don't know how. It's just the way you're drawing it and the way you're doing it in the earths and in the outer space. It all makes sense. And he was dying to have this photo. He told me that before he left jail, he had to have this photo, this drawing. He had to have it, and I just still said no. And so he kind of got mad. And then I saw him on the outside later, and he just didn't even acknowledge me. He really wanted that. He kept asking me for this drawing every single day. I still said no. And this is that's the Tesseract. Those are the frames that he's shifting through. I explained to him what this did for like a few hours, like what this represented, and why it's drawn the way it's drawn. And he just really wanted it. So, but I never gave it to him. This guy is pretty much just shifting through all the different versions of himself, billions of times per second. he's trying to find what earth he belongs into. Each square represents an earth that he is looking through, and the Tesseract is being plugged into the ether to get the power, the cosmic energy it needs for it to even shift in this way. This one I drew, when did I draw this one? I drew this one in 2015. I actually drew this one in a car, in a moving car. I was on a road trip, and I was really trying to draw this one. I saw this in my head before I drew it, so this was one of the ones that I knew that I was drawing. And I had to draw it. I went to an Office Max and drew this picture out exactly the way I saw it. So, in a sense, here's the infinite, there's the Tesseract, and there's your third eye seeing through your continuity illusion of Earth and your continuity spectrum, your life going from Earth to Earth. These blocks here are actually moving and shifting and rotating up. Here's one Earth, here's another Earth, and here's another Earth, and this picture can go on for infinity. And then there's your body, and there's the illusion of your life. Whether you're on your phone listening to me right now, or that's pretty much what's going on there. And this is one of the first pictures that I drew when I moved to Las Vegas. I moved into my first apartment and drew this on the ground. This is, in a sense, you shifting from one timeline to another timeline. This one is another old one that I drew. I drew this one in 2013, 2014. Where was I? I think I was in Orlando, Florida when I drew this. Usually whenever I feel a feeling, whenever I have an urge to draw, I feel like my pineal gland vibrates a lot. And specifically, I was in the hotel lobby at the Radisson Hotel in Las Vegas. In Florida, in Orlando, Florida. And my pineal gland started to vibrate real hard and heavy, and I sat down on the couch and I just drew this one. And this actually didn't take that long to draw. That took about maybe an hour and 20 minutes to draw. But whenever I feel that feeling in the back of my head, I usually want to draw really, really bad. So this was a very urgent picture to get out. This picture, I've had a lot of people, resonate with this one specifically. This picture, I've had people want me to redraw this numerous times for them, or and have this picture just hanging up on their wall, and I had somebody even recommend them have wanted a tattoo of just this, or draw it in a different way, so it's that way it's not all complicated. But I had this picture since 2014, 2015. This is another old picture that I had. I actually drew this on a little piece of paper, hence why it's it was just a loose piece of paper. I wasn't even trying to really draw something really intricate, but then I got into the flow state, and then my pen just started moving on its own, and I had no idea how this was going to turn out at all when I was drawing it. I remember having a pen, and I just was drawing it, and then it came out the way it came out without me even knowing what I was going to draw until it was finished. And then as time goes by and people see this, I had a few people resonate with this, and to the point where this one girl wanted this to be a tattoo on her back. So she didn't want all the geometry in it because she said it was going to hurt, but she just wanted the full face in the pyramid, tapping into infinite intelligence in a sense. Your oversoul is tapping into other oversouls and tapping into other oversouls, looking at the frames that are which is your life right here. So each frame is just going into infinity, all the way up into your oversoul eye. So you're just, here you are right here, and here's the planet Earth, or this could be the Milky Way galaxy, and your third eye can see all the frames just spawning into your third eye, which is your oversoul perspective that sees all frames spawning into existence. This can represent the space-time continuum, which is why I drew the hourglasses. This is the matrix grid right here, where you can input any type of kanji that you want into the grid. And once again, here's the eye, the third eye that sees all things and sees you inside the story of your life. And it's balancing the yin yang energies together to create harmony and balance into your world. So right here, the Tesseract is opening and it's creating distance and space. And as it opens, it creates the different versions of yourself every second. And it's creating the different Earths every second. So as you expand your awareness, you can see yourself on the mountaintop, watching yourself walk through this maze that you call life. This is pretty much, could represent your pineal gland. This is like the chip, the microchip of your reality, where you save all your life experiences. Or this can be, like your pineal gland or something like that. It could represent it represents the infinite, downloading all information into this Merkaba that you are, into the black holes, into the matrix grid. Yeah, that one will take forever to explain. But this is, here you are, your soul is balanced out. This kanji, this mudra right here is called Retsu. It's a Hindu mudra that has you, it represents space and time. And when you have this when you do this mudra, it actually, and you do a certain breathing technique, and you say a certain mantra with this mudra, it actually makes the back of your head, where your pineal gland is, vibrate. And I've practiced that technique for a good few years now, to the point now where I can, in deep meditation, I can actually make my pineal gland vibrate and draw in knowledge to draw stuff like this. This represents your space-time continuum, and each circle represents a planet Earth that you're shifting through. And this is the Andromedan stamp right here. And this one also represents maybe another person doing the same thing in his own infinity. So here is your face. Here's the Big Bang right here, and it explodes out, all the way out into your linear space-time progression, your matrix, and that is the Eye of Horus. And in this little section here, each Earth is being shifted and put into a frame to create your life, in a sense. I like to look at these as like astral toys, in a sense. In my head, I'll create like a cube, and if I'm in a reality that I don't prefer, I'll just color one side of that cube in black. That represents a different reality, that represents a different human, which represents a different Earth. So if I have a fearful thought, I can literally just boop, and it's not like I had it in the past. I never had it. So this is how I'm shifting realities, because when you know that you're an infinite being, you can look at yourself in a different way. So, and yeah, that's that concept. And this concept is a tesseract that moves within inside itself every billionth of a second. There's one human, there's another one, and it could be the same human, but this is, if you were to go Google what a tesseract looks like, folding, it folds into itself, and then it comes back out and then folds back into itself, and then it comes back out, and it's just moving constantly. This mathematical equation will take forever to talk about. This is the heat death of the universe. This is, in a sense, your light body just shifting inside of itself. Now, everywhere on the outside is pretty much the void. For all you know, this is all the different people in your world, all the different versions of yourself spawning into infinity. And this picture rotates. It spins everywhere, from out to in to up to down to diagonal. And when it spins very, very fast, it creates the planet Earth. So I really like this one, and I've had a few people wanting to buy this picture, but they didn't really give me like a price that I was like comfortable with. But yeah, this one's a really personal one for me. I drew this picture about 2 years ago. Here you are. You're pretty much, in a sense, the architect of your reality. And the architect can see that you this is the architect inside the tesseract. And when the tesseract unfolds and opens, it sees all variations of itself, billions and billions and billions and billions of times per second. Long story short. So yeah, and the architect is downloading information from the infinite simultaneously into his vehicle, you can say. And this is the last level of physical solidity. And when the tesseract collapses, you are now in the dream world. That's my artwork in a nutshell. So if you want to contact me through my Instagram, mcstate, STATE513, or you can email me at mcstate514@gmail.com. If you want to request a channeling session with me, shoot me an email or send me a message on my Instagram. If you also would like a custom drawing of my artwork, I can also do that for you too. Or I can, or if you want any of my artwork that I already have, you could just message me on Instagram. Or if you see any artwork that you like on the video, just shoot me a message and I'll respond right back to you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Love, light, eternal blessings, abundance.
What is your name?
Obsidian.
Are you human?
No.
How would you define yourself?
I am an amalgamation of complex configurations.
And why do you come forward at this time?
To assist your transmission, to shed love and light upon your planet. Your Earth, your version of Earth, needs help. Your version of Earth needs assistance. The energy of your planet has a density to it that is very heavy for a higher vibration to live on. We are not speaking in frames. We are speaking in your consensus. Your consensus is what you may deem to be your reality. We would like to acknowledge that you are a fellow light worker, such as the channel before you. You guys have a very important mission to spread as much knowledge and information and healing to your planet. You guys are doing what your soul mission entitles for. We don't want you to give in to any notions of fear that may be existing within your hive mind collective. Your collective is depolarized to the negative. If we want to see change, you guys must change. We can't change for you. We can't have you change. You must change yourselves. Change yourself, and then you will see it reflected in your outer reality. Change your beliefs about what works and what doesn't work. Your beliefs is what creates your reality. Your beliefs are only beliefs based on a certain access point within what you would so call your relative understanding. Obsidian is here. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for joining us today.
We bid you in the infinite love and light of the Creator.
Where are you from, or who are you connected to?
We are from the reverse dimension, the dimension that is backwards from yours.
Backwards in what way?
Everything. This is why we are complex configurations. We sense great power from this energy vortex, which allowed us to pierce through your reality in this way. The vortex that has been opened.
Is there anything you can do to help Marc get his abilities back?
Yes, there is.
What can you do?
First, you must understand that his abilities are always there. He must recognize what he already has. He didn't lose him. He just thinks he did within his illusion of what he thinks works and what does not work, and what he believes is true and what is not true. He has everything he needs to understand his new quote-unquote abilities. He just needs to perceive them.
So how can he teleport?
He must understand that distance is just an illusion. Distance is not real. The object exists that you see before you does not exist in a location. The location is the property of an object. Once you understand that the location is simply the property of an object, you can chart that location, and you can have that location start existing in a new location instead of traveling in time.
Understood. Do you have any other messages you would like to share?
Yes.
Please do. So,
you are a very interesting soul. What is your name?
are you talking to me?
Yes.
Well, I go by the name in this reality of James Rink, but I carry many other names and many other alters.
What are your other names?
Sabretooth, James Marc Sabretooth, James Ring, Sabretooth 54363, Agent Sabretooth.
You are our soldier.
Are you familiar with these programs?
Yes.
What can you tell us about them?
You have lived many lives and gone through many experiences. You do not need to know all of them. Just know the ones that are only helping you in this life. Do not be distracted by the others. The others will lead you down the path that you do not need to go down, unless it's exciting for you to do so. You will be a very great person in your so-called future if you stay on your path that you are on. Opening more conduits like this will have you opening more portals like this will have you spiraling down a reality that will be beyond your wildest dreams. The interruption within the transmission was the frequency of your ultimate paradise reality. It would have felt so good to be in, and you are heading down that direction as of now, opening portals for beings like us to navigate through. And we thank you for opening these portals for people like us to gain and understand ourselves through understanding you.
Understood.
It is very refreshing to see this side of us, which we see in you, which is us. We are you and you are us, and it is amazing to see this reality in the way that it is orchestrated.
Right. Well, thank you for joining. And do you have any questions for me?
I do.
Okay.
What is the thing that you are most excited about?
I'm most excited about making other people happy and bringing them joy.
How are you going to do that?
By bringing them content and material that allows them to fulfill their potential.
In what aspect?
Perhaps activating their own abilities.
And this is your passion.
Sure. Yes, you're right, it is.
You need to look into more Egyptian culture to facilitate more of a stronger link. You are a very high priestess in that era of time, drawing information from that person.
Do you remember the name that I carried?
What we are getting is a list of names from different parallel realities. Would you like all of them, or would you like one?
How about is there one from this reality?
When you mean this reality, do you mean the one we're speaking of right now?
Correct.
Josiah.
Okay. And I was a priest or priestess?
High priest.
Priest?
Yes.
All right. And was I a pharaoh?
Yes.
What pharaoh?
You were a pharaoh of the highest priest. You were the pharaoh of life and death. You were sought out across the lands to find out other people's soul purpose, like what you are doing right now. You are recreating the same events from lifetimes after lifetimes, even in the body that you are right now.
You're reenacting the same thing you used to do in Egypt.
Can you tell me the name of the pharaoh that I was in that lifetime?
No, we cannot.
Okay. Did I happen to know Marc?
No, you did not.
Okay. Do you have any information and when a past life, perhaps when I knew Marc?
During the times in Atlantis,
What was our role together? Our job, our duty, or relationship?
you guys were friends. You guys were casual friends with certain abilities that you guys both admired of each other.
Ah, okay. All right. And what do you foresee in a future timeline?
There is a splitting prism of two realities happening based on the decisions that can be made in the present moment at any given moment within the next 5 years of your space-time. There can be a discovering of life on other planets without a shadow of a doubt. 2, there can be an awakening of what you would call your artificially intelligent machines. And 3, there can be nuclear war too. That is a very, very, very low probability, but it's a bleed through. But the highest probabilities are intelligent life and artificial intelligence. But we don't want to harp on the negative and increase the bandwidth.
Do you think Monarch will be taken care of?
Depending on the decisions you make, like I have said.
Mm-hmm. And will us super soldiers become self-aware?
Yes.
When do we start to get our memories back?
It varies from person to person.
How about for Marc?
In due time, his will come back. We cannot pinpoint an accurate time. They will just come back when they need to come back at the timing, when the timing is right.
Was Marc ever used in any secret space programs?
Yes, he was.
And where was he stationed?
He was stationed on the moon.
Did we know each other then?
Yes, you did.
What was Marc's name?
We are not allowed to say. His name will activate certain codes in him that he might not be ready to integrate yet.
Is it because they traumatized us?
Yes.
All right. Well, can you talk about anything about me and my time on the moon?
Yes.
What was it like there?
You were unhappy.
And how long were we on the moon?
Several years. You wanted to go back into another body. You wanted off the base. We don't specifically harp on the torture aspect of your identity, for it may unlock certain codes within you that you might not be ready to integrate yet for yourself, and take you down a parallel time track that you might not be ready to see and experience.
Would it make me go crazy?
No, it will take you to a parallel world where you will not be sufficient in communications like this.
Okay. Can you describe perhaps can you give us an idea how old Marc is from all of his SSP experiences?
He is thousands of years old.
So that means he's been used in multiple at 20 years and back.
Yes.
And why would they use him over and over so much?
Because of his innate ability to clear his mind and to split his mind. He has a very easy splitting program where he can split his mind at will, and they see that as very valuable.
So how often do they take him for another 20-year and back mission?
Not that often. When he is used, the mission is complete. He is what you would say the trump card.
Okay. And where are all the memories stored from these experiences that he's been through?
In the back of his head, most of the time behind the corpus callosum of his brain. He does this willingly himself without him realizing it. They don't need to induce the trauma. He blocks the trauma out of his mind himself.
Is he ready to unlock that area?
No.
Well, what about for myself?
No.
Are my memories stored in a similar fashion?
No.
Where are my memories?
We are scanning. The prefrontal cortex is where you hide a lot of deep, dark memories that you might not be willing to integrate. And we will go on to say that it might not be within your best interest to integrate or to realize for yourself, for it will take you down another parallel time track. It is a very deceptive lure to want to know those memories for every super soldier. Very deceptive, which is a program within itself. For you, they cannot wait that you activate these programs so that way they can keep on doing more research on you and taking you into their labs. Any self-awoken program in that aspect is a vital weapon for them to use. Do not do it.
Understood. Is there a way we could recover at least some memories that may not make us go crazy?
Yes.
How can we do that?
Through your dream state. Through requesting activation of those memories that will serve you in your life path in a positive way.
How come we're unable to remember our dreams?
It is not the time.
And I was curious, who was taking out pages out of my dream journal?
Your parallel counterpart.
Why did they throw away pages?
Because they needed that for reasons we cannot discuss.
Should I continue journaling?
Yes.
Even though they steal pages from me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You will know in your due time.
How many years in the SSP have I been through?
Thousands.
Does that mean they are you referring to like other parallel realities?
Yes,
or just this
other parallel realities altogether.
one? Okay.
Your oldest was thousands.
All right.
Thousands of years. Over 3,000 years.
And what are some of the abilities that Marc has in his altar?
He can phase through objects. He can teleport his whole body. He can time travel. He is clairvoyant. He can make himself invisible. He can make himself fly in space and breathe in space.
Can he transmute materials?
Yes, he can. He can transmutate atoms and molecules.
Is there a way that he can convert a rock into gold?
If that part of his mind is active, yes, it can. He even has an arsenal of weapons within his body.
What kind of weapons?
His arm can detach from his arm can detach and bring up a very sharp sword, very sharp dagger. And he can also shoot missiles from his other arm when his wrist is detached.
Okay. And does he change size?
He can, but he never does.
What
For stealth reasons. He is a stealth soldier. He does not specialize in brute force. He is a soldier that comes and goes undetected, and you'll never know.
Has he ever done work for Kruger?
No.
Has he ever done work for the Nazis?
No.
What happened to him in the parallel reality and with the Nazis won World War II?
He went on to his own timeline because he is his own agent.
Okay. Can you describe what some of my abilities are and alter?
Your abilities are super strength of a very high level. You can see through walls, see through people's intentions. You can see through objects. You can phase in and out, implant thoughts into people's minds. You can breathe in underwater. These are just some fraction of a lot of your abilities that we cannot mention right now.
Well, what about telekinesis?
You have that too if you choose, but you don't use it that often. You're more of what you would call a wild animal. You specialize in brute force, hence your nature, your very easygoing nature. When you're activated, you become, for a lack of a better term, a monster.
Like Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde?
Yes. And it is very hard to put you down when activated.
Are you concerned you might accidentally trigger me?
Yes.
Well, thank you for having my well-being in mind. If I did get accidentally triggered, would the Men in Black have to come in and clean things up?
They wouldn't be able to stop you. You're a very strong. You specialize in strength and brute, relentless assault. We do not want to go that deep into describing your ability.
Is there a way that the ETs could possibly take me aboard a ship and try to integrate me without me turning into a basket case?
That can happen, yes.
So how do we bring that timeline into being?
Set the intention before you go to sleep and see what happens.
Do you recommend the same thing for Marc?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is it possible that Marc can transmute some stones into gold at this time?
No.
Okay. Because the altar is not active?
Yes.
And activating it it's not like turning it on like a switch. It'd be hard to turn it off.
He just would disappear and do whatever he wants.
Would he forget all about me?
Yes. The session would end.
Okay. Well, we don't want that to happen. All right. Is there any other information you'd like to share?
Be good to your planet. Focus on notions of happiness, love, joy, and prosperity. We do not want your focus to focus on the negative, for it does hit the ego and makes it happy. Don't make the ego happy. Use your ego to navigate through your third dimensional reality as a lens. Don't use it to make yourself look better than what you already are. You are as good as you will always be. You are an infinite creator God. Remember that your ego is a peasant. You don't need the darkness to get to know who you are except through contrast.
Understood. And can you comment about any of the weapons that pop out of my body? Do I have anything like that?
Yes, but we will not comment.
Do I Hulk out?
Yes, you grow bigger in size and mass.
Why do they refer to me as a saber tooth?
Because you are vicious.
Oh. Well, some saber tooths can be gentle and loving.
But you're vicious.
Okay, understood. Are there any other messages you would like to share?
Not at this time.
Obsidian, thank you very much. Is there a way that Marc can communicate to you on his own?
Yes.
How can he communicate with you?
You can communicate with me through a red triangle put up against a black background. Use that symbol as an anchor and picture that in your imagination before you go to sleep to contact Obsidian.
Can I do the same?
Yes, you can. I will be there for you as well.
Thank you. Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.